There was an article today in the Sun Chronicle talking about second graders moving from Jackson to Wood. We know that that is not true. I actually made a phone call to Mr. Peterson today to clarify. He did not return my phone call. So we do know that the article was completely wrong.
So I had a very brief email exchange with Mr. Peterson yesterday. And the extent of my email to him was, we're just starting to see if it makes sense to move grade 3 from Jackson to Wood School. Obviously, there was lots of other information, most of which was incorrect. We identified initially a number of areas that we really feel that would need to be looked at. We feel it's important to look at enrollment. We feel it's important to look at how each of the buildings is staffed, the physical space within each building. So having worked in a number of schools over the year, even if they're in the same district, I can attest to the fact that every building has its own culture. So this is a graph that shows the previous 10 years of student enrollment. What I then did is take that same time period and just took the enrollment from grade 3 and moved it to Wood School. So if you could go to the next slide. Okay, so same time period, Wood becomes the bigger school in terms of enrollment, if that had happened over the prior 10 years. So in this slide, I'm actually using some enrollment projections. So taking a look at, if we made this move, what would enrollment most likely look like next year at Wood, and the year after, and the year after. From an enrollment perspective, going forward, now the gap is much closer. So in this first slide, I have staffing. And then what I did is said, okay, if I were to look at back that same 5-year period, this year and 4 previous years and the next one, and I had looking at staff as if they had been pre-K to 2, then we go to the next slide. And you can see it gets much closer. In a move like this, I don't think there's any one overriding reason that should guide you. I've heard it's, oh yeah, we should move them there because that's where MCAS starts. MCAS is one tiny aspect of the work we do here, and that shouldn't guide a decision like this. I think there's a number of factors. You really need to look at all of those factors, and if you see that there's really a preponderance of factors that really indicate to you this is a good move, then my recommendation will be to make that move. If I don't see that there are many factors, or the ones that are what I would consider less consequential, then my recommendation to you is going to be, no, don't make the move. But it's just, I think there's a lot of things that have to look like they would go in the right direction for this to happen.